Okay.
All right, be alive. All the best.
Thank you. All right. Welcome, everyone. Hello, and welcome to Cosmic Conversations. I'm your stand-in host, Glenda Dawson, standing in for Sheila Seppi, who is still under the weather. And I want to welcome you, whether you're watching us live or on replay. Just thank you for joining us. If you haven't already, please visit the galacticalliance.org and sign up to be on our mailing list. And you can sign up on the consciousawakeningnetwork.org. Also, you can catch Cosmic Conversations on replays on the CAN YouTube channel. Tonight, we have the honor and privilege to have and for me to introduce a wonderful lady who has been a great friend of mine for a long time now.
You're not
And
going to say how long.
no, come on, you're 65, but I like to keep that I'm 62 quiet. Oh, did I just say that out loud? Anyway.
Out loud. Yep, you did.
But she's been a great friend and supporter of Sheila and a friend to Galactic Alliance since their inception. Andrea Perron. Andrea Perron has embarked upon a new path as her spiritual journey, which continues to unfold. As a lecturer, she's humbled by the positive response, aware of the impact this memoir has made on many souls. She is the author of House of Darkness, House of Light, the collective memoir which chronicles the supernatural events which occurred between 1970 and 1980 during the decade her family spent dwelling among the spirits in the house alive with death. This portal, cleverly disguised as an ancient New England farmhouse, is the setting for the spiritual excursion they embarked upon, and it's in their hearts. It remains in their hearts no matter how long ago they left that beautiful house. Volume 1 of this trilogy was released back in March 2011 to rave reviews and has earned a 5-star reader rating on Amazon in a few short months. Ladies and gentlemen, I present Miss Andrea Perron.
Hi, and thank you so much for inviting me, and hello to everybody that is part of this. It's nice to see sweet faces again. Gary's here, Patty is here, Susie. It's lovely to join all of you. It truly is.
Wonderful, sweetheart. We always love to have you. We always love to see you. You know that. So tell us about the journey.
Well, I have been in Georgia now for almost to the day a year as a round-the-clock caregiver to my mother, who injured herself very badly doing something she shouldn't have been doing in November of last year. I got here as fast as I could. As soon as I finished my lecture circuit for the year, I went back to Florida, packed up everything I could find that would get me through the winter in Georgia, because it really is like being on 2 different planets, Florida to Georgia. And I came, and I've been here ever since. And Mom was bedridden for 16 weeks and lost the use of her legs. So this is a life's journey at a particularly difficult time for me and for my family. Something that is changing me, I feel, that I will obviously get through to the other side of, but certainly not untouched or unscathed by the experience, because my mother is my nearest and dearest human being. And so it's my honor and it's my privilege to care for her. But it's also been an agonizing process. And oh, and I lost my home in Florida to a flood back in September. And it was just bizarre. It wasn't a tropical storm. It wasn't a hurricane, which we weathered a number of in all the years that I lived in Florida. It was just a huge thunderstorm that parked itself on the southern shore of Lake Apopka, right where I lived, and stayed for 90 minutes and dropped a foot of rain and destroyed half the house, undermined the foundation, poured through the doors, poured through the windows. I was up in Rhode Island while it was happening and got a panicked phone call from my father and got as many people to the house as fast as he could to start moving our precious antiques and save everything that could be saved. And then we had to move because the house filled with mold in 48 hours
Wow.
and became a toxic waste dump.
Mm.
So the house that I loved is gone. I'm sure somebody will go in and do whatever it takes to restore it, but it wasn't going to be us. And so had to go down and spend a few weeks in October. And I was wondering why. It was so strange because October is usually like the busy month for paranormal everything.
Mm-hmm.
September and October, and September had been wild for me, just wild. It was one event after another after another. But then I had 3.5 weeks of nothing booked on my calendar. And I could hear the universe laughing, saying, okay, so we saved this chunk of time for you
Mm-hmm.
because we knew you were going to be busy, which I was, inordinately so. Still dealing with the mold and the mildew and the cough and the everything that got up in my sinuses. But overall, we got through it and fortunately had a beautiful home to go to.
Mm-hmm.
My father's dear friend and partner in life had her house on the market. She had moved in my absence, had moved in with him. And she called her realtor and pulled it off the market and said, I need the house. So, we were very fortunate that there was no searching for another place to go. Very fortunate. But, upheaval, lots and lots and lots of upheaval has been 2023.
Mm-hmm.
And uh, there's been many years that on New Year's Eve, which I always spend alone, I always do. I just sit on the sofa and watch the ball drop in Times Square and answer phone calls and take messages and interact with other people, but I never get out on the road because that's just, begging for disaster. And I don't drink, so what would be the point of going anywhere where everybody else is drunk and I'm just watching them be drunk, not my idea of a good time. So yeah, I always spend New Year's Eve it's contemplative for
Right.
me. I kind of do a review of the whole year. This one, I am going to gently kiss goodbye. This year, I would like to just kiss it goodbye and forget as much of it as I can.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, I have a memory that elephants would envy, and I can't let go of what I really feel like I need to shed.
Mm-hmm.
It's just been a lot of pain and a lot of loss, and I want all of that to stop now. And I want our galactic family to get down here now and intervene on behalf of humanity. And I know that that's an unreasonable request because I have spent well more, Glenda, if anybody knows, you do, well more than a decade lecturing about here comes the paradigm shift. Here it comes. You people better get ready for this because everything's going to change and change in such a way that we won't recognize life on the other side of it. We won't. And then COVID.
Yeah.
And I was probably the least prepared person on the planet. It leveled me, absolutely leveled me, emotionally, incredibly destructive. And had it not been for that little peanut butter cup asleep on the sofa behind me that I had just rescued my baby, because again, the universe, we think you need a chihuahua. I'm a big dog person. You know that. My last dog was 130 pounds. Great Pyrenees. Okay. And then it drops a little chihuahua in my lap and says, here, take care of this dog. This dog needs you, and you need this dog more than this dog needs you.
Yep.
And so, I count on the universe, and the powers that be to intervene. But I really do feel like we're at an inflection point and a real crisis point on planet Earth. And there are a lot of times that I feel like all that I do is goes unheard. And that is very distressing to me because, I was talking to my friend Paula Harris about this, the founder of Star Work Symposium. And I told her, I said, I feel like I am screaming into hurricane force winds. And what I'm saying is just being dispersed into the ether, and no one hears me. And she just looked at me and she said, they hear you. They hear you. And she's right about that. They do. And, I'm the one that did the whole chicken and the egg thing, right? Like, they can't crack that shell open for us. We've got to peck our way out of our 3D shell and build the resiliency and the resourcefulness and the energy and the strength that it will require to live outside the shell. They can't do this for us. We have to do it for ourselves. And, here I am with a group of incredibly enlightened people, but it's a handful. And I need to know that there's hundreds of thousands and millions more like us that see the handwriting on the wall, that see what's happening to humanity, what's happening to our environment, what we're doing to this beautiful, magnificent planet. And we need to come together in numbers that cannot be challenged, in order to make the change that we seek to be the difference that is required in this world for us to navigate our own spiritual ascension, to enter and embrace our brethren, our sisters in the galactic family, and work together to make this a much better world, because this world is fine without us. I before we go on, I'd had to do an interview with the Sun because of a movie I had just released not long ago. We Are Not Alone. It's everywhere. Anybody just look at, you can find it. It's everywhere. Prime, everywhere. And so I had to do this interview with the Sun magazine out of London, We did it as an audio thing, and the reporter was just recording it. And I kind of mixed it up with her a little bit because she said that she believed that extraterrestrials exist, but they don't really care about us. They care about saving the planet, but they don't have any real interest in us. And I was like, whoa, wait a minute now. I beg to differ. I was very polite. I didn't take her off at the knees and watch her jump away on bloody stumps like I would normally have done to anybody else who said
Mhm.
something like that. Um, but I said, not only do I have personal relationships with our galactic family, but I got an A in logic when I
Mhm.
got my degree in philosophy. And logic dictates, inductive and deductive reasoning both dictate that they have very much a vested interest in us, their family members.
Mhm.
And the reason that I know that is because we are the pestilence on planet Earth. If you want to save the sheep's fur, you have to flea dip the sheep and clean off the vermin and the pestilence and the things that are eating the sheep alive and destroying the fur, right? So if their one intention was to save the planet, then logically they would remove the one species that's causing all the damage to the
Yeah.
planet. And they're not doing that. And they've, God knows, they've had the ability forever, forever, as long as existence has existed. They are, I don't call them aliens. They're no more alien to planet Earth than we are. And they are our family. And they love us. And they want us to succeed. And they can't do it for us. They can't do it for us, or we will perish. And she had to back down, because the more she thought about what I was saying, she
Mhm.
realized I was right. And don't question my relationship with them. Don't, because I have been a contactee since I was a child, and probably for my whole entire life. I just don't remember, the first very few formative years of
Mhm.
contact, but I feel absolutely certain that it was ongoing. And then I was allowed to see and remember from the age of, like, right around the transition from 12 to 13 is when that happened. At the farm, happened at the farmhouse in Harrisville, Rhode Island. And that was my personal paradigm shift. Everything changed for me then. I knew we were not alone in the universe. There was no question in my mind. And I can't tell you exactly how big the vessels were that I saw in a flotilla move directly over that farmhouse, but I can tell you that they were absolutely not manufactured on this planet. And
Mhm.
they were absolutely silent. And at the rate of speed that they were traveling, which was something akin to a crawl, if it was something that we had made, it would have landed in the yard on top of the farmhouse. Okay. Just would have dropped from the sky. So I've known all this time, and spent decades and decades of my life looking around going, this is a mistake. Some clerical error has been made out in the cosmos. I don't belong here. What is this place? Why am I here? What am I doing here? And feeling very much like I was living on the island of misfit toys. Um, I'm the elephant with the pink polka dots. I've even got the matching. I've got right here, right in my own room. I've got the robe to prove it. Um, and it wasn't until I came out, until I like really came out as an experiencer, probably about 14, 15 years ago. Quite unbeknownst to me, I was giving an interview, and it was about my books and about our experiences at the farm. And about 3/4 of the way through the interview, which was at the Renaissance Hotel in downtown Atlanta. And I had 4 cameras trained on me from 4 different angles. And the interviewer just looked at me and she said, "Have you ever had any extraterrestrial experiences?" And me, who's never at a loss for words ever, went mute, because a week before on Skype, I had had a close encounter with uh, a being that I, in a strange way, recognized. He was actually quite beautiful. He was jet black, like the fanciest patent leather black shoes that you would get for Easter, like that kind of black, beautiful, with laser red orb eyes and a face. His face was, it looked like an egg. There was no protruding chin. And he was beautiful, and his eyes locked into mine, and he usurped a conversation that I was having with a friend of mine up in Rhode Island. And I was getting downloaded, like, to the extent that I had to, it started to physically affect me. It didn't, I can't say that it hurt, but it felt like my head was going to just blow. And I disconnected the call without getting his contact information, and I will regret that forever, because I would have loved to have a conversation with him. And I do remember, for the few minutes that I was staring at him and could not break my gaze with him, until it became uncomfortable. And then I started fishing around for the mouse, and I disconnected the call. It's one of the few things in my life that I really regret, because I needed to spend more time with him. I needed to know, and I don't know why I knew it was male, but I did know that. And I felt every human emotion conceivable except fear. I felt absolutely no fear. Incredible love, higher love, not of this world love, fascination, every emotion that a human being can feel. I wept when I broke the connection. So sorry that I did. My mother saw him. She rounded the corner into the room while I had him on the screen, and it was full screen, so he appeared, quite large. And, she's like, "What the hell was that, Annie?" And I couldn't even answer her because I couldn't talk. I was just, like, so choked up with emotion. And I remember laughing and crying and yelling and just exploding emotionally around this encounter. That happened a week before this interviewer asked me. And I said to her, "I'll tell you, but you can't use this film footage. You have to agree that you will not use this film footage." And she agreed. And then they found the story that I told them so compelling that they put it into the interview. And then they disseminated that interview all around the world with an agreement that they made with Warner Brothers to include it as a packaged set with The Conjuring. And to say that I was out as
You were ousted.
as a contactee was the understatement of the new millennium. And I said, "You know what? This was supposed to happen. This was supposed to happen. It had to have been that it was supposed to happen this way." It's not like I walked across the street and told my neighbor, "Oh, I see extraterrestrial vessels every day." No, I told about 30 million people at once. So
Just trying to save time. You were
Yeah.
trying to save time, that's all.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I don't know. So anyway, all right. So I've already been, chatting for like a half an hour. Anybody got any questions? Anything particular you want to know about other than I'm really disenchanted with humanity right now and would like to at least go temporarily off planet to get it together before I come back and keep trying and just keep trying. I don't know what else to do, Glenda. I don't know what else to do. I'm at my wit's end with humanity right now. I am.
Well, there are pockets of humanity that are trying, and that's what gives us hope and gets us going. And shows like this will get them together.
Yeah, Kathy said many of us are disillusioned. Yes, my darling, many of us are disillusioned. And, we're not in the same physical space, but I really do believe that we can hold hands. I really do believe that we can manifest peace on this planet if enough of us are working together to do it. But if we don't find a way out of our own proclivities and our own self-destructive behavior, we will cease to exist. Earth will be fine without us, but we will cease to exist. And it doesn't have to be that way. It doesn't, because love is the answer to every single question. Ask any question and reduce it down to its common denominator, and the answer is love.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. Beautiful. It really is. Now I'm going to get you started. You're probably
Okay.
going to wring my neck.
Oh, I don't care. You can ask me anything, baby. You know that.
I know that. I know that. But now we shared a lot of experiences, and you shared one with Sheila when you went to her house.
Yes. Oh, yeah. One of my best.
How would you, what about your ability to call in ships? Especially like when you were at Sheila's house where all those Arcturian ships.
I know, that was so cool. That was so great.
And when we were
Sheila
in
lives
St.
in a
Augustine, right? When we were in
Sheila
St.
lives in an
Augustine.
ultra
I
cool
know.
place.
I
She does. I can't even smoke a cigarette up there because like the air is so thin, it puts itself out. I thought I was going to, I was up there. No, okay, Susie's laughing. She probably knows I'm telling the truth. She's probably been there. Really, I love being off planet, but I don't want to be so high on this planet that I can't breathe. No, one of my very best experiences was at Sheila's house, and also in St. Augustine. I've had numerous. I lose track of how many. I have experiences every day. Most of my sightings occur in broad daylight. Most of them. And my vessels, and I don't know why I know that they're mine, but somehow I'm connected to them, are always in the northern sky. And they know exactly where I am all the time. So if I walk out the back door here and sit down on our deck and turn left, I am facing due north. And there they are. I see, and this has been happening for about a decade now, just before I see the vessels, I see kind of a ghosting effect that looks like strands of DNA. Only they're in shapes like birds, like the Anunnaki, like the birds with the body in the middle, and one will appear almost like a backwards question mark, like a backwards question mark. There's a number of different ghosted strands that I see before I actually see the vessels. And I think that that's kind of like an identifying marker of, it's us this time. No, it's us this time. No, we're all together this time. And they do work in tandem, particularly my experience with the Pleiadians and the Arcturians is that they're really tight.
Mhm.
And I relate to and resonate with people that are Arcturian connected. I think there's an awful lot of us that are walking around on this planet that are carrying hybrid DNA.
Mhm.
I know I'm one of them, and there are, the research so far is indicative of this being true. And I'm not scared about that at all. It's probably why I've always felt like I live on the island of misfit toys, because I'm only mostly human, not like completely human. And the researchers have identified 3 particular markers for this proclivity, which is blue and green-eyed people, firstborn or only children, and Rh negative blood factor. Now, most people don't get their blood tested to the extent that they've been told that they carry the Rh negative blood factor. And usually, unless a woman is pregnant, they won't even test for it to make sure that her blood is compatible with her husband or her partner, so that the baby can, if the blood's incompatible, then the woman has to have gamma globulin shots, which my mother had to do because my mother's blood was incompatible with my father's blood. So I am one of 5 with blue or green eyes, and I'm the eldest, and we all carry the Rh negative blood factor.
Mhm.
That didn't exist on this planet prior to the last ice age. Neither did blue or green-eyed people. Rh negative blood factor was infused into the human bloodline because human blood does not mutate. So science has come a long way in terms of making great progress in terms of validating the whole notion that some of us are hybrids.
Mhm.
And I say, when I'm not, whining that I would like to go home now, which is, pretty frequent, like daily, um, I'm grateful that I'm on this earth and that I have a large enough platform that I can at least attempt to make a difference in the world. I got a feeling nobody's going to even appreciate it until I'm long gone. But that's okay. And I don't want to come back. I do not want to come back to this planet, as beautiful as it is. I mean, I went to Scotland last year. I mean, it doesn't even look like it belongs on this planet. It is such an extraordinarily beautiful place. And this year I'm going to England sometime, I think in September, August. And I'm looking forward to that because I need to, not want to, I need to go to Stonehenge. I need to. I have been drawn to that place my whole life. When I was, I think, 8 years old and had to write. Oh, thank you so much, Susie. You're so sweet. Oh, I wish I could just crawl into that little box that you're in and just give you a big bear hug. Um, I am called there. And it's not just my ancestral connections to Great Britain. I mean, I've got English, Irish, Scotch, Welsh, on my mother's side, uh, Cherokee Indian, the Scots and the Cherokee intermarried when the colonists first came to the New World. And so that's part of my bloodline, and French on my father's side, pure French. So kind of Heinz 57 variety in terms of my human stuff. But it's something else that calls me to Stonehenge. And when I was 8 years old, I wrote my first book report, and it was on Stonehenge. And I don't know why. I was so fascinated. The first time I ever laid eyes on it, I was like, oh, Oh my God, look, I know that place. I know that place. How do I know that place? You know, and as much as I would love to go see the pyramids, that I don't feel drawn to the pyramids the way I do to Stonehenge. So this summer, God willing, I'm going to go and do a Paracon in England and make my way over to Wiltshire.
Nice.
Yeah.
You know, you're talking about nobody appreciating you, and we have a room here, a call full of people who appreciate everything you do. Never mind everybody else that's listening is going to listen afterwards.
Well, it's easy to get discouraged in a world that's so full of pain
Right.
and loss and grief. And where I come from, none of that exists. I know it.
Mm-hmm.
I know it. And it's why I can still be so pure of heart instead of jaded at my age. Most people don't make it to my age without being so disillusioned that they're like, sayonara, you know? Just counting the days, counting the days. And, you know, but there's a part of me that feels like no matter how weary I get, I have to move forward and go on and embrace everyone that comes along my path, because they wouldn't be there unless they were supposed to be. They wouldn't be there unless I had a message that was for them, which is why I go all over the country and the world, taking people out and introducing them to our galactic family. And it changes people's lives. It really does, Glenda. You've
I
seen it
know.
yourself.
Mm-hmm.
It
And
changes people's lives.
it's a
It opens
beautiful
their
ability.
hearts in a way that nothing else can. And, you know, when we were together in Michigan not that long ago,
Yeah.
I mean, we had hundreds and hundreds of people all out on that back lawn, and the sky just filled with light and movement. And, you know, I remember one year I was doing what I do. I sing to them. They come. It's not that they come when I call them, they're already here. They just make their presence known to the people that join me.
Right.
And and I just sing to them. I sing their favorite music, and it's my favorite music. And I don't know if it's my favorite because it's their favorite or vice versa. And it doesn't matter. I just sing to them, and it opens people up in a way. And they gave me this gift years and years ago, that I just use. Um, and it happened spontaneously, where I can open up people's third eye. It's just, it takes no time at all. But I have to hold on to them when I do it because they lose their balance. And sometimes I have guys that are like a foot taller than me and, you know, big wide shoulders. And they're like, I'm going down. And I'm like, no, you're not. I've got you. You know, oh my God. It's just really amazing. But then they start to see and they start to interact. And I'm like, you know, just talk to them. They understand everything that you're saying. They understand everything that you're feeling. We are them, they are us, and all of us are one. If everything is one thing, everything is energy, everything is consciousness, everything is existence as we know it, then I don't care if you call it God or prime creator or great spirit or whatever you want to, you know, take a post-it note and put it on, you know, it doesn't matter. It is. And when you tap into that energy, it has an inordinate ability to lift you into a higher consciousness, into a higher plane of action, and to remove you from the morass of this destructiveness that human beings engage in with such regularity that it's easy to feel hopeless. The hard part is to force yourself to be hopeful in spite of all appearance to the contrary. That's the hard part.
Mm-hmm.
And I always get back to true north on my compass every day before I go to sleep. I make sure if I accomplish nothing else, no matter how depressed I got during the day, no matter how things were with mom, no matter what happened on the news, no matter what, before I let myself close my eyes, I make sure that I get back to true north, and I walk out that door and I say good night to them every night and good morning every morning. And thank you for coming. Thank you for coming. Thank you. I remember this is one of the most important things that's happened to me in recent years. It was February 24th of 2022. And I know that that date will resonate with a lot of people who are paying attention to what's going on in the world. And for weeks, all through the holidays, I just felt this tremendous anxiety, I knew something absolutely terrible was coming. I knew what it was going to be. I knew it was going to be a disaster. And I was sitting out on the front porch of the house that I no longer have, overlooking beautiful Lake Apopka, with a cigarette in one hand and a cup of coffee in another, just rocking in my chair and looking up at the sky over the lake. And I said, "Oh, God, please get down here now. You have to intervene now. You have to. I don't care what the rules are. Break the rules. Get down here now. We are in trouble." And I was angry because I felt helpless. And I got the clearest, most concise message that I have ever received. And it wasn't in a download, it came right through here. And it was this verbatim. It was like words, but also words that I could see in my mind's eye. And this was the message exactly. If we are here, this planet and its people are in crisis. We are here. And 6 hours later, the cruise missiles started landing in Ukraine. 6 hours later. And on the 1-year anniversary of this completely fucked up war, Volodymyr Zelensky gave an address to the people of the world about the resilience and the will of the Ukrainian people to preserve their homeland and not to relinquish it to one more megalomaniac on this planet. And he ended his speech with 3 words: "We are here." And that was all the validation that I needed to know that they are watching. They are watching us. They can't stop what's happening, but they can enlighten and come through and communicate with enough of us that if we have the courage to say so, to say we are connected, they are us, we are them. We are all one race, one human race on this planet, and we are loved. If we who are contactees, who are experiencers, whatever the vernacular of the day is, the vernacular du jour, it doesn't even matter, because it's not about language. It's not about, I read light language. I decipher crop circles. My head's with them. It's not down here, which is why I feel so disconnected and have to deal with a great deal of anger and disgust and revulsion and contempt and all those negative emotions that are rising to the surface in me. I didn't know that I could feel hatred until about 7 or 8 years ago. And then I discovered that, hell yeah, I can feel hatred because I saw the handwriting on the wall. I knew what was coming. I knew what was coming. And I knew how bad it was going to be and that it was going to destabilize the entire world order, which it has very successfully done. And all of it is part of the paradigm shift. All of it. So I can be as angry as I want to be, but the only purpose that serves is to remove what is toxic in me, to identify it as part of my humanity, let it come to a boiling point, spill over the pot, and crust up the stove. And I'm just leaving it there. I'm not even getting the crud cutter out. I'm just leaving it there in piles. I let it boil up, spill over, and I burn it as jet fuel. I burn it as nitroglycerin to get me through the next day and the next day and the next day. Because I don't know what else to do. It is that part of me that's still hopeful that we can find our way out of this, that we absolutely can. Because look at these beautiful people. Look at these beautiful people who get it. They get it. They're here for a reason. So that is my that's the impetus. That's what makes me go forward. But yeah, I'm pissed off all the time. All the time.
Except when you talk to me.
Well, yeah, but don't make me laugh now, damn it. Don't.
Oh, come on. There's that smile.
Cheers. Cheers. Coffee.
Cheers.
Nectar of the gods.
Yes.
Everybody make a note of it. Nectar of the gods.
Yeah. If you wouldn't want to see me without any. Oof. So now that
I agree with Patty.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, I agree. Oh, that man's brilliant right there. He is. He gets it. Totally gets it. Yep. Greed is not good. And greed is what fires this planet. And a handful of people control all the money. And somehow these morons think they can take it with them.
Yep.
Don't even get me going. Oh my God. Okay, ask me something paranormal, because if I stay in 3D too long,
so
I
the
get
house.
really miserable.
The house.
Ask me
Let's
something
go back to the beautiful house.
Okay.
The last time you were there, did you get to chat with anybody?
The last time I was at the house,
yes,
my sister April came through.
Nice.
And she told me something that I cannot divulge, but having to do with my mother, to help my mother make her transition.
Okay.
And so, yes, yeah. But I also had a little tete-a-tete with several of the spirits that are there. Before I arrived, there was an investigative team, and they had, I don't know, they had a spirit box and a Pandora's box, and they were doing EVPs on their recorders, and everybody had their gizmos and their gadgets out. And somebody said, Andrea's on her way. She's coming. And through every single one of the gadgets was a group message, we know. And then when I got there, I was with Cody and Satori, and they were using their methodology, which is flawless and beautiful and brilliant. Pneumatism. They practice pneumatism. And And so the tapping started all through the room, and you could hear it. It was all around, but you couldn't discern where in the room it was coming from, which is one of the things that's so fascinating about what they do and how they do it. And so Satori, she's so kind. And she's like, okay, I can't talk to all of you at once. Could you pick like, a ghost host? Could you just like have one that could give the message for everybody? And so they agreed. There was one tap, yes. And she said, okay. And the message is for, and they started spelling out my name, and she got to the A-N-D, and she's like, so it's for Andrea. Yes, tap one. And then she's, how many words? There were 4 taps, 4 words. And they spelled out, we miss your family. You know what my reaction to that was? Oh, sure, you miss our family because you sucked us dry. 5 little kids, so full of energy, we didn't even know what to do with it. And 2 parents that were at each other's throats all the time because one was having experiences and the other one was denying his and was telling the other one that he didn't believe her. And so, we had all that tumultuous energy going on in the house. Sure, you miss us. Of course you miss us. Who wouldn't? I mean, it was that or run the electric bill through the roof. It was, one of the two. Get the energy wherever you can get it. But I play with them. I love them. I love them because they exist.
Right.
I even love the cranky ones. I really do. I mean, think of the lives they lived. You think our lives are hard now? Go back 200-300 years. That was hard living, especially in New England. And I don't blame any of them for any of the decisions that they had to make or what they went through in their lives. It doesn't matter to me who they were in life, that they still are in afterlife and can communicate with us as intelligent beings. That's all that matters to me. To me, that's a miracle. If there was ever such a thing as a miracle, that's a miracle. And I love going there. The last time I went, I was there for several days, and I stayed at the farm for the first time since I lived there, since 1980. It was literally the first time that I stayed at the farm. Usually, I stay at a nearby hotel, spend countless hours at the farm, but then I kind of escape it and go off and sleep in the big, nice, comfy bed and, 1,000 channels on the TV and, a nice hot shower. And, it's kind of my escape because it can get very intense there. But this past time, I felt drawn to stay. I wanted to stay with them and be with them. And I was there with my assistant, Erin. And, oh, you are so sweet, Kathy. See, I am half blind, and that's one of the things that sucks about getting old. Oh, she's so sweet. Thank you, Kathy. I might as well just leave them on for God's sake. I can't see crap. Okay, so it was funny because I was staying with Erin, my friend Erin, who's my assistant, and we had a visitation during the night, and she thought it was me walking through the room and going, to another bed or going to, the back or whatever. And I was outside 3:00 in the morning talking to the Galactic family and having a cigarette, and I came back in and she's like, but didn't you just, I'm like, no. And she said, okay, well, all right, somebody's over there and it's not us. And I said, plenty of room at the end. Not a problem. Just leave them be. No, I love them. I love the spirits at the farm. I love that they communicated with us and continue to. I feel very privileged and very honored to have had that as my upbringing. And it wasn't something I'm not going to, it would be disingenuous of me to say that I was never afraid at the farm. I was never afraid for me, ever. I was afraid for my family, especially my sister Cindy and my mother, both of whom had had near-death experiences and were known to the spirits. So it makes plenty of sense to me that they would be the ones that were, I won't say targeted because that's got such a negative connotation, but the ones that were contacted very regularly.
Mhm.
That's perfectly logical that would be the case. And with Cody and Satori is just angelic energy. She is pure of heart. And Cody died and was brought back. And when the two of them come together, that energy, I mean, when you're around them and they're doing their process,
Mhm.
all the hair rises on your body. I mean, because of the electric energy. Pneumatism is about transfer of electric energy, and spirit is electric energy.
Mhm.
There's just a different form that we haven't been able to scientifically identify if it's, kinetic, or if it's, what kind of transient energy it is, or residual, or, I don't think it's residual energy. I think it's kinetic energy. But whatever it is, it is.
Right.
And so it's incumbent upon us to explore that as much as possible and learn as much as we can and communicate with them as much as we can. And it's really a beautiful, beautiful thing. I'm really in my skin when I'm talking to paranormal people about paranormal stuff. I am. See, like, my whole demeanor has completely changed from the beginning of this conversation to now
Mhm.
because I'm in the right frame of mind.
Mm.
I'm in my happy place.
There you go. There's that smile again. I knew we could get you to smile. Now, are there any questions for Andrea? Besides what is in the amount of love that's in this chat for you. I could
Oh,
tell you that.
thank you all. Thank you all for coming. Thank you all for being, and not only being, but being present, being intellectually and emotionally present in a world that needs you desperately, desperately.
Okay,
I
Bridget.
appreciate all of you. All of you, I do.
Bridget has a
There's
question.
Kathy. Look at that beautiful face.
Okay. Bridget,
Hello,
hi.
beautiful.
Hi. Oh, isn't that sweet?
So, I've been listening to you, and I just want to say you're amazing. Thank you for all that you do. And we feel you, we see you. There's an entire collective of us that knows. And all of these awarenesses that you are bringing to people who are ready for it, right? And for those that aren't, you're planting seeds. They are so purposeful. And I too grew up in a house that had, well, a neighborhood that had a bunch of spiritual energy everywhere.
Mm.
So I'm listening to you tell your stories, and I'm like, I've been seeing people that are no longer in the body since I could walk before that, right?
Yeah.
So I'm listening to you tell your stories, and I'm like, I want to hear. I guess I want to hear about. Maybe the question is, hold on, let me formulate your question.
Okay.
I have two earbuds in, so hold on one second.
It's okay.
I'm running a bunch of equipment to get you into Clubhouse. So yeah, that'll help now that I can think without hearing that 3-second delay that happens. So tell us about some of your experiences with the spirits and how they really opened you up for the experiences with the galactics. Because, hi Sheila. Oh, is Sheila here? I just saw her.
Yeah, she just popped in. She's
Just
probably
so-
laying in bed with her laptop. I know her.
Right.
I know for me, right? She probably is. I know for me, a lot of my experiences with angelics and with spirits really opened the door for my ability to understand and be able to communicate with galactic, cosmic, ethereal beings. And I would love to hear your take on that for you and your world.
Well, I am completely, utterly surrounded all the time. And Glenda will tell you I'm a freaking magnet. If I go into it, I don't even need to be in a place, in any, particular like haunted location or anything like that. I travel with my own entourage, and which comes in really handy sometimes. In fact, when I have to make long road trips and it's just me and Princess Peanut Buttercup sitting in my lap. Is she sleeping? She's sleeping. She's my baby. I don't know if anybody can see it. See that little puppy right in the back there? That gorgeous, gorgeous hunk of dog on the sofa? That's Princess Peanut Buttercup. See my baby. Oh, stretching. There's stretching going on. I just tell them, all right, you know what? Everybody get in the van, get in the car. We're going for a ride. Let's go. And it's great because they don't need to make pit stops. They don't like McDonald's. They don't, they're just there. And it's that sense of being surrounded by spirit and surrounded by my galactic family, who I always feel like I'm being watched over, being guided, being directed. I had a close encounter. It was a couple of years ago. I was driving down the Florida Turnpike, and there's a rest area that's like right in the middle of the highway. And I was in the high speed lane doing at least the speed limit, most likely more. And all of a sudden I rounded a corner and there were two high beam headlights directly in my eyes. And my father was sitting to my right in the passenger seat. And it was almost like I could hear, it's like he stopped breathing. He just gasped because I was about to have a head-on collision with a car that was coming out of the rest area the wrong way and heading north on the southbound high-speed lane of a very, very busy highway. To this day, I cannot tell you how I missed that car by a wisp. I didn't even wake the dog up that was sleeping in my lap. Something moved my hands on the steering wheel, and like cutting through butter, I went around that car. Meanwhile, my father is on the phone to the Florida Highway Patrol. And I had a friend, unbeknownst to me, that was traveling about 10 miles behind me at the same exact time. And she said they shut that highway down because of that phone call that he made, and probably saved lives because he called and said, wrong way driver on the Florida Turnpike at Okahumpka, get everybody over. And the police just poured out because that's where they all go, because that's where the coffee is, and they're not stupid. That's where the coffee and the donuts are. And they just poured out, and they managed to get the guy and stop him, and saved lives. And, all the signs they have, wrong way driver, everybody off to the right, stop your cars. They stopped traffic. I don't know how I didn't get killed. that evening. It was right at dusk, and his high beams were on, and he was coming directly at me. But something intervened in my behalf. So it's unfair for me to say that they don't intervene, because they do. They just do it, I think, on a one-to-one personal a personal connection, a personal level, not en masse, but one to one with each one of us. And which is why it is so important that each one of us cultivate these relationships to the very best of our ability and speak with them, even if we're not quite sure who we're speaking with, because all you really need to trust is the love. If you can trust the love, then you can trust who you're speaking with. You don't need to necessarily know them personally. And so, Bridget, I don't know if that even answers, the specific question that you're asking. All I know is that it is a profoundly significant relationship. And other than the relationships that I have with my immediate family and my close-knit circle of friends, I also know that this relationship and the connective tissue that exists between them and us is burgeoning, because every time I go to an event and 300 or 400 people follow me outside and say, please open my third eye and introduce me, please do that, and they're completely open to that process, that in its own right makes us family. It brings them into the fold. It's like the circle of wagons gets exponentially larger, and the big campfire in the middle, and the singing bowls, and the music, and the laughter, and the camaraderie, and the holding hands, and the embracing each other. That's what they want all of us to exhibit to each other all the time. And so when I see the ugliness and the destruction and the devastation that exists on planet Earth, it is complete, utter, total anathema to me. And it is the overcoming of what we seem to be locked in, this spiraling downward cycle of destruction. And that's my only escape. My only escape is to be with those that are free of this already. And I think of spirit as extraterrestrial as well. They are no longer earthbound in a physical vessel. They exist in another dimension, that all the dimensions are interlocking and interconnecting, and everything is one thing. If everything is energy, then everything is one thing. And that's why the interconnection can occur between the dimensions, and that's why we can communicate. But that's where I'm most comfortable. I don't spend a lot of time in 3D. I don't. I'm in 4D, 5D, and beyond a lot of the time, because that's the only way that I can be present on this planet at this time and survive the experience long enough to make a difference in the world.
Thank you,
Oh, I
Andrea.
love it. Thank you.
Bless
Yes.
you for all that you do
You
and all that
too.
you are.
Beautiful.
We have a question
Oop, the
from
dogs.
Kat.
Oh, trying
Your
to get to
dog.
mute.
Oh,
They're boxers.
oh, gee.
Hi, darling.
Hi, Kathy.
Hello. Hi, thank you.
Hi.
I just I feel you so much, and I've had that issue since I was very young, and I've helped people in different ways over the years in my past and work that I did, and I try in my little world right now. I'm not sure what I'm going to be doing like in a larger scale. I'm working on that, but I love your practicality and just being honest and real about the pain you feel and how hard it is. And, because not everybody speaks about that. And it's all about, trying to be at the higher level in the consciousness, which, I try to be and I used to be, but then like you said, we're in this human body and we deal with this crap and I feel like keep getting my ass kicked.
Yeah, we
It
all are.
taking
Yeah.
me down sometimes. And so I just want to say I appreciate that, that you're just so real and honest. It's very helpful because I do have the moments of disillusion, and I knew what you were speaking about in February of 2022, and I still feel that. And with something else going on, it's like, well, what is wrong with these people? But so I try to hold that level. But do you feel like I was raised with a father who was all about, education? I have a very analytical mind, and I try to integrate the left and the right. So do you feel the left analytical is so interfering? I haven't been able to tap in as much with the third eye and those things, and I feel like I'm just getting too much distortion.
Well, if I were to make a suggestion to you, I too, because of, I was intellectually precocious at a very young age. Education was top priority for both of my parents. But I don't think that they are mutually exclusive. I don't really think of it in terms of left brain, right brain. I think of it as the two intermingling in a beautiful poetic dance. And I think that ultimately it will be the merging of science and spirituality where we really come to grips with the essence of our reality. I think that there are many, many of us on this planet specifically at this time to help facilitate that. And I think that you are one of them. But you have to stop thinking of them in terms of being separate and distinct from one another because they are mutually complementary. They are most functional when they are interlocked in a loving embrace.
Right. That's what I keep working on.
Yeah. And it's not work. All
Okay.
you have to do is just change your mind about your preconceived notion of them being somehow separate and start doing your mental work, whether it is meditative or whatever methodology you utilize to start thinking in terms of them being complementary to being coupled up,
Right.
because that's when both of them are strongest. Your analytical, pragmatic mind versus your creative, sublime, esoteric mind.
It's taking too much, and I'm trying to get back to more of the creative and the esoteric.
But it's not getting back or going forward, or it's not that. It's letting them work together in concert so that, I guess one way that I've put it for a long time is, yes, in harmony. Bridget is right that they work in concert, in harmony. And they both serve a very valuable purpose, but they're more powerful when they're working together. And so you don't have to exclude one portion of your thought process to embrace the other, because they empower each other. And it is the merging of science and spirituality, which I think will ultimately open the door of true enlightenment for humanity, in that we will begin to see our old reality with new eyes.
Right.
Nothing about reality has changed. Our reality has always been our reality.
I think it's perception and more knowledge coming to the masses.
Right, exactly.
Maybe it's just personally I'm stuck more in, it's not being able to integrate it so easily sometimes.
just try to stop compartmentalizing. You know,
Okay.
just think of everything as one thing. Everything is consciousness. Everything is energy. Everything is existence. Everything is one thing. And when you start to achieve the comprehension, and you feel it first before you think it, you feel it
Right.
first. The comprehension of the notion of the realization of oneness. Oneness. Everything is one thing. When you get there, then all of the what feels like the strings of a marionette, they all get snipped away. They all get cut away.
I feel the
And
oneness a lot, and I feel it, you know, a lot of things, and very much in the heart and empathically, very a
yeah,
lot. And then I think maybe sometimes it's too painful, and maybe I'm, you know, trying to get out of it. I don't know.
yeah. Well, and that makes perfect sense. You know, a lot of people do that, just kind of escape back into that
I
very
feel like I'm back.
pragmatic,
I'm kind of in
logical
and out.
mindset. But it's they're incredibly complementary. And let me put it to you this way: there's nothing counterintuitive about being a spiritual warrior for peace. You know, even though you've got the word war and warrior in there, you can be a warrior without ever damaging anything or anyone on this planet.
Mhm.
But it is a mindset. I am willing, there are things that are willing, I'm willing to fight for in this life. And then pick your battles.
Right.
And you can become a spiritual warrior for peace to it seemingly counterintuitive notions that are working together in perfect harmony toward the greater good for
I,
all of humanity and all life forms on this magnificent planet.
thank you. I totally get that, and thank you very much. I really appreciate that.
You're
Thank you,
welcome,
Kathy.
sweetheart.
Thank you.
We have two more, Desley, and then Susie will take us home. Desley, unmute yourself. No, you can't hear you. There you go.
There she is.
Hello.
Hi,
Hello,
sweetheart.
Andrea. I'm
I
from
love your lavender everything.
Oh, yes, it's
I
beautiful.
all the same colors that I painted my mother's bedroom.
Yes,
Your
yes.
your house looks like my mother's bedroom. All those
Well,
different
there you go.
tones.
There you go. I just like to say how much I'm resonating with you. I'm RH negative. I'm a hybrid. I've had visitations in my own home.
Did you invite them or did they just show up?
Well, that's a good question because I felt that my daughter initially conjured them. And then once they were here, there were messages, obviously, they wanted to bring. They left symbols, they left handprints all through my house.
Lovely.
It's a long, long story, but when you were talking, you had me crying because I can feel your pain, the not belonging, the sense of aloneness, people thinking that you're not, you're weird, you're strange, all of that stuff I've had all my life. And as soon as I looked at you and you started to cry, I started to cry as well because I can feel it. I want to go home all the time. That homesickness that is not normal homesickness. It's a different. You can't explain it to anybody. And then when you talked about the electrical energy, I've had the high resonance for electrical current with water and electricity all my life. So I feel all of the vibrations coming from Mother Earth, and we had a tsunami here a few years ago, and I felt it in my body for a long, and then I had a prophetic dream. But I get the downloads as well, but I don't understand the language, and it frustrates me.
Oh, me too. And you know what?
You
know,
I understand them.
I'm as thick as thieves with them. But you know what? And I get downloads so regularly. I mean, I had one that lasted 6 days. I had to relearn how to hear. You know, it was it had a low vibration. It was do you get the boom, that feeling like a bowl has been put over your head just before it starts? I do. But usually they only last about 15 to 30 seconds. What I have learned to do with the downloads is to just stop whatever I'm doing and relax, close my eyes, breathe in, take it in. I cannot decipher them. I don't know what I am being told. All I know is that I can be on a stage in front of 1,000 people and suddenly something comes out of my mouth that I did not consciously think before I said it. And that's the downloads.
They're doing
That's
something.
them. They're using me as a conduit. And
Yeah.
so if you just accept that whatever is being imparted to you is necessary, it's important, it is preparing you for what is to come, and it is utilizing you as a conduit so that in that moment when it is most important, there it is. And out it comes. And so in that same way, think of it as all working together in concert, because I think that what is being imparted to us, particularly the hybrids or the walk-ins or the star seeds, the light workers, the beings on the planet who are constantly walking around going, oh my God, what is this? Why am I here? Let's just fake it till we make it. You know, I mean, but let me tell you something that's going to make you feel better about everything. Okay. Excuse me. I have a person who is very dear to me, named John Tenney, and he incorporates in his lectures one of the things I find most fascinating about the paranormal. And it is an exploration of the etymology of the word weird. And it goes back to the Middle Ages and originally appeared as WYRD. And it was an aspersion cast upon those who lived outside the walls of the kingdom, of the castle and the courtyards, those that lived beyond the boundaries, those that grew their own food and were completely self-sufficient and didn't need a hierarchy to tell them what to do. And the word in its original form meant those who determine their own destiny and manifest their own destiny. That's what that word means. So the next time somebody calls you a weirdo, all you need to do is just tip your imaginary hat and say, thank you very much. High compliment.
Yes, yes. And I mean, I think I have come to accept who I am. And that was why they were here, to show me who I am and to complete a puzzle to find who I am.
Mm-hmm.
And once I knew who I was, it made such a tremendous change to my life and how I felt.
It's a burden lifted. Yes, it is.
Lifted. But I miss them. I know that they never go, but once they left, I was so sad. So I can understand that sadness that you feel, that you want to go back to where they are.
Well, I don't feel it for the same reason that you do. And they never really left you. They never leave
No,
me. They're
no,
what lift me up on a day-to-day basis when the world just depresses the hell out of me.
yeah,
And they're the ones that lift me up. They're right there with you. All you need to do is communicate with them, and make sure that they understand that you're not in any way fearful, because they're incredibly, incredibly conscientious, and
yes,
they
yes.
don't want to cause disruption, disturbance, harm in any way. I've always thought that Hippocrates was one of them. First, to do no harm. Um,
And
and
even when you get, as you say, in your house, there was some scary things going on. Even when there were scary things going on, I didn't feel unduly fearful
mhm.
because I felt this connection that, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank
And
you.
I look back on that in my childhood now, and I think, this was just something that was so unique and unusual.
Mm.
It would be natural to feel some form of trepidation
You
seeing
think you
this
would,
for the
wouldn't
first
you?
time. You would
Yeah,
think, this is odd. This didn't happen in the other house that we lived in or the one before that. So what's
yeah.
going on here?
Mm.
And so uh, to assimilate that, to be able to come up with some kind of a logical explanation for it, when the only plausible logical explanation for it is that we are not alone in the universe, and that there is something that exists beyond our mortal being. That's the explanation. So there again, the merging of science and spirituality. And when you come to terms with that kind of terms of endearment, it makes all the difference. It
Difference.
makes all the difference. Just love them. Just love them well with all that you have inside
Oh,
of you, and they
yes.
will make your presence known. They will absolutely make their presence known to you. Absolutely.
Well,
Thank
as
you.
I say, it's been wonderful speaking to you. Um, I just feel like I want to grab you and give you a big hug because I just, yeah, it's just like you are me and I am you. It's
Yes. And we are
wonderful.
one.
And we are
And we
one,
are one, my
definitely.
darling. We are.
Yep.
Thank
Thank you
you.
very much.
You're
Okay.
welcome.
Thank you. Susie,
Susie
Yeah.
Q, there
before
she
we
is.
go on, one second, I just want to tell everyone that if you haven't already, please visit the galacticalliance.org and sign up to be on our mailing list. And you can sign up to the conscious awakening network.org. And also you can catch any and all cosmic conversations on replays on the can on YouTube. So I wanted to say thank you, baby girl, Andrea.
I love you, sweetheart. You
I
know I
love
love you to
you.
pieces.
Yeah, I know you do. And I love you more. And Susie, I know you had something to say. I'm sorry it took so long. And you're going to take us home, right?
It's okay. Yep. Andrea, whoever just spoke, when I first met you on Sheila's show, I felt like I was you and you were me. I made a connection with you. I looked up everything you've done. I kind of rewrote this song for you tonight. I thought we were going to talk about ghosts, but then we talked about ETs, so I'm going to call them friends. And this original
Okay.
song was written by Kristen and Robert Lopez, who is a husband and wife team. Okay. The friends glow on the mountain tonight, all their footprints can be seen. A kingdom of isolation, and it looks like you're the queen. Oh, the wind is howling like the swirling storm inside. Couldn't keep it in if you tried. Don't let them in, don't let them see. Be the good girl you always had to be. Conceal, don't feel, don't let them know. Well, now they know. Let it go, let it go. Can't hold it back anymore. Let it go, let it go. Turn away and slam the door. Don't care what they're going to say. Let the storm rage on. The cold never bothered me anyway. Sorry. Funny how some distances make everything seem small. But the fears that once controlled us can't get to us at all. It's time to see what we can do, test the limits and break through. No right, no wrong, no rules for me. Because we're free, let it go, let it go. Don't hold at the one in the sky, let it go, let it go. You'll never see us cry. Here we stand, and here we'll stay. Let the storm rage on. The fear never bothered us anyway. I love you, Andrea, so much. My heart, I'm so grateful for your vulnerable opening up. So grateful. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
I love you, Susie. I
Sorry for
truly
messing with you.
do.
Okay.
I know that song
I can
very
feel it.
well. I have two great nieces who sing it to me all the time from Frozen. And yeah, I know every word of that song, and it's magnificent and it's beautiful, and it's a message that I hope resonates all around the world, all around the world, because, you
The
know,
the fear never bothers us anyway.
no,
You
it
are
doesn't.
such an established, fearful, fearless person. Thank you for your love.
Thank
Thank you.
you. Thank you.
Mwah.
And thank you all for being here tonight. It has, I know it's, you might not believe me, but I'm telling you the truth. You lift me up. You know, we're all in this together. We are. And we all have our times when we need each other. We need to make connections like this that literally raise the vibration of the entire planet. And make no mistake, that's exactly what we're doing tonight. And it's okay to talk about our foibles and our frailties and our pain and our grief, but also let us never fail to mention the joy that we have when we come together as one and celebrate that realization of oneness. And as I say, you know, at the end of every one of my shows, I say the same thing. Be that beacon. Be the change you wish to see in the world. And always, always be the light you seek. That's my message.
Thank you, beautiful. Thank you, Andrea. Thank you, everyone. Have a good night. Be blessed. And we wish Sheila good health. Hopefully
Good health and happiness.
Yeah. Bye.
Good night, all.
Good night.